Welcome! Today I'm going to demonstrate the Bickford Seam. If you're a subscriber, welcome back. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you enjoy this video, please give it a like and consider subscribing. The Bickford Seam is an alternative seaming method for vertical seams. You could use it in place of mattress stitch. Be aware, though, there are drawbacks. A Bickford seam is not as attractive and is not as sturdy as a mattress stitch seam. It would not be an acceptable method of seaming in the master hand knitting program. But the benefits of a Bickford seam are that it leaves no ridge on the inside of the fabric. So this might be desirable for places where you are sensitive to seams against your skin. A hat or socks are example items where this seam might be a good substitute. It's fairly easy to work. Here's what a Bickford seam looks like when worked in a contrasting colored yarn. It would look much better if worked in the same color yarn as the project yarn. But it lies very flat. The side edges of the fabric butt right up against each other. It's flat on the front and on the back. To work this seam, we begin with a figure 8. So I'll go on this swatch from back to front under one strand of the cast on and leave a bit of a tail to weave in it later. Then I go to this side and I will go under one strand of that at the selvage, right at the cast on edge. And then I will go back to the same spot from back to front over on the right. Now this seam is different from a mattress stitch seam. We won't move to the left yet. We will come to the right. The seam is worked in the selvage stitch instead of in between the selvage and the next stitch. The selvage edge, as you move up the rows, one row the stitch will look like a knot. It has a knot over here, and the next stitch, the next row up, will be an open loop. So we want to come up out of a knot and go down into a loop. But to start, I need to be to the wrong side. So I find the first stitch here, which is an open loop, and I will go down from front to back. Now I move to the left, and I'm going to find that first stitch above this edge and find the knot. And here's a knot, and I'm going to come up this very right hand loop of the knot. I come from back to front, and then I move up a row and I go down. Then I come to the right hand side and I come up out of that far left leg of that knot, like so. This seam doesn't tighten up the way a mattress stitch seam does, so this seam is best tightened as you go. Like so. So I had come up, now I need to move up a row and go down into that loop. And then we come across and we find that knot, we come up out of the knot. Keep the tail out of the way. and work at a good tension. Now I move up a row and go into that loop and come across and find the knot and come up out of the knot. So we're making a little like a ladder, stair step, which you can see in the contrasting yarn. If I was using the same color, it would be less visible. Now I move up and go into the loop. Move across and come up out of that knot. Then move up and go into the loop. Move across and come up out of the knot. It's a bit like lacing shoelaces. So you just repeat that up the seam. Now to finish, I can do that last stitch here and this last stitch up here, like so, and then put that tail to the back. Because my last bind off stitch up here is a little bit loose, that's looking a little bit loose, but you could do kind of a figure eight, then at the end to cinch the top, like so. Like I said before, if it was worked in the same color yarn, it wouldn't be quite as visible. It's not as attractive as Mattress Stitch, but it does lie flat. And there is no ridge on the inside. So that is how to work a Bickford seam. I hope this was helpful. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.